Am I the a-hole for telling my sister she is not a martyr for staying at home, and if I was her husband I would divorce her? My sister and her husband have 2 kids. They are both in school. This whole year she has been complaining constantly about how hard it is to be a stay-at-home mom, but she doesn't want to go back to work, even though her husband has been pushing her to do for a while. The issue is that she doesn't do much compared to her husband. He takes the kids to school in the morning. The kids have come home on the bus in the afternoon. She has a whole day with no kids that she can do whatever she wants. Maintaining the house is like 2 hours a day. That leaves her with about 6 to 7 hours of just being there. I was a stay-at-home parent after I lost my old job for a bit. Really, it's not that hard when the kids are in school almost all day. Anyways, she came over yesterday and was ranting. They got into an argument about her picking up more slack or getting a job. I guess this started because he came home to a dirty house and no groceries in the fridge. I asked why she wasn't doing chores or at least getting food, and she told me she didn't have time. I asked if she got a work job and it was a no. I asked what she is doing all day and gave me no answer. She then went on a rant about how he isn't doing enough and her husband is being unfair. At this point I had enough. I told her she isn't a martyr to be a stay-at-home mom. That she literally gets everything paid for and can't even bother to get food. I told her if I was her husband I would divorce her since she acts more like a kid than a partner. This started our own argument and she is pissed. I personally think she needed to hear it. Edit: for everyone who says I don't know how stressful it is to be a mom. I am literally a woman with 3 kids. It's not rocket science to take care of your kids. Basically every parent that works is still helping their kids with homework and taking them to activities. You don't need to be a stay-at-home mom to do that.
Not the a-hole, I agree with you. Why is she a stay-at-home mom when kids are at school and she isn't even doing anything at home? If there was a newborn at home, I'd give her slack. At this point, her husband is absolutely correct to get a job or get out, as she isn't bringing anything to the table.
I really think she should go back to work and just split childcare and chores. Or with the extra money of her working, hire a maid or something.
But you don't understand. Going back to work means she actually has to do something. The reason she can't account for her time when the kids are in school is either because then she'd have to admit she does nothing, or that she does whatever she wants. Either way, she's not willing to give up that time. She's been enabled too long, it seems, and she wants the only contributing adult to do more. Honestly, it comes down to one of 4 things: mental health, laziness, selfishness, or an affair. She's got 35 plus hours a week to herself, time she won't account for. Her partner realistically loses nothing by divorcing her.
Not the a-hole. My sister is a stay-at-home wife, no kids though, and I swear sometimes she doesn't understand the definition of a job. She'll call or text and ask to go to a Pilates class, or some random shit, in the middle of the day. Like, girl, I have a job, unlike some people.
Retired folks are annoying, too. One time I had a rough day at work, so I told my mom. She was like, well, thank God it's Friday. I had to tell her mom, IT is Monday.
You're right, and so is her husband. Stay-at-home mom means cleaning, laundry, taking kids to school, picking them up, taking them to activities, soccer, dance, girl, boy scouts, supervising homework, shopping, meal planning, making dinner, making breakfast, packing lunches. There can be some me time in there, but a well-run household is a full-time job.
Once the kids are in school, it's not a full-time job anymore. That's the problem.
Not the a-hole. It sounds like you were honest with your sister about the imbalance in her relationship and her responsibilities as a stay-at-home parent. While your delivery may have been blunt, it seems like the situation had reached a point where directness was necessary. You provided a perspective that she might not have been willing to acknowledge, and sometimes tough love is needed to prompt change.
Am I the a-hole for telling my wife's brother-in-law he can't speak for every guy with a unisex name or gender-bending names? My sister-in-law, wife's sister, is expecting her first child with her husband. For the last 4.5 months of her pregnancy, he has been insufferable. Sister-in-law and him are no closer to finding a name for their baby, and he uses the pregnancy and the fact they are actively still naming their baby to shit on unisex and gender-bending names. Boy names on girls and girl names on boys. His name is Skylar, and he talks about how cruel his parents were for giving him such a girly name and a name that is meant for girls more than boys. He is ranted about people trying to call him Sky and how that's such a girl's name. He rants and raves and regularly brings up the fact men should not have unisex or girls' names, and yet so many people think naming a boy Riley today is fine, or naming a boy Sage makes sense. He said it's wrong. He talked about meeting a young boy named Ren and how his parents had cursed him to forever be mistaken for a girl when they hear the name. He said no man or boy likes those names. No man or boy wants to be called those names. As a male indigo who goes by Indy in day-to-day life, including at work and school and college when I went, I disagree that every guy feels this way. I don't. I also know a guy named Kinsey from school who never had a problem with his name. I know a guy named Sonny who hated his name because he felt it was too girly. So it balances out. But my wife's brother-in-law is adamant that every man and boy with any name that gets used on girls too is disgusted by it and hates it. He will not let it go. This came up again on Saturday when we went out to lunch. He was being loud and doing his same old rant as always. This time I spoke up and told him he can't speak for all guys with unisex or gender-bending names because we don't all hate our names, and he can look to me as an example if he wants. I also pointed to a guy he follows on social media who technically has a unisex name. I told him they might not be his thing, and that's fine. Nobody can force him to like those names. But he's wrong to speak in absolutes about it like he does. He acted like I had personally demanded he name his son Ella or something. He called me a dick and told me I can't force my opinion down his throat like that. His wife told him to shut up and listen to what I actually said. But he told me I had humiliated him and told him he's wrong to have his opinions, and that makes me the a-hole. Am I the a-hole? Should I have simply left the topic alone?
Not the a-hole. He's obviously in a set headspace. Your opinion won't change it or have an impact. To some people, gender-neutral names are on par with names that can be reduced to nicknames. Our youngest is Danny. Many people assume his name is Daniel and call him that. No, he's purely Danny on his birth certificate. My husband is from Belgium with the name Jan. Being in Australia, you can bet your bottom dollar people assume I'm a lesbian as they see it written as Jan, until I explain it's pronounced yarn, and he's a 6'7" bloke.
That's so similar to the reaction I got when I told my British family that our youngest is called Alexander Jan, my partner is Dutch. I had to explain to my granddad that his second name is basically the Dutch equivalent to John and was named after both my husband's grandfathers.
Not the a-hole. I'd have a hard time not laughing at his little tantrum. Damn, the amount of energy he's dedicated to this is wild. If this is what he considers a big problem, he's lucky in life. It's also telling that someone having a simple difference of opinion on this makes him feel humiliated. Yeah, just keep shutting him down. You're free to have your preferences, but you don't get to dictate how others feel about their own experience. We've all endured your rants long enough. We will not center your fragility.
You can't force your opinion down my throat while I've spent 4.5 months trying to force my opinion down your throat. Your brother-in-law screams into the night, absolutely humiliated by his own petard. Not the a-hole from a woman with what's technically a boy's name and just fine with it.
If he had such a problem, why hasn't he changed his own name? Sounds like he's just looking for an excuse to be an ass.
Not the a-hole. He thinks you having a different belief to him is forcing your beliefs on him. He's speaking for all men and seems to think everybody is as much of a misogynist as him. Because listen to what he's saying. If a name is used by a girl, it becomes disgusting to all men, according to him. Why would that be unless he thinks there is something wrong with being a girl?
Am I the a-hole for not agreeing to my husband's new chore list after I switched my work hours without his approval? My husband, 38 male, and I, 37 female, have been married for 9 years and have 2 kids, 8 and 6. He works a hybrid schedule, so he's home 2 to 3 days a week. I'm a nurse at an understaffed hospital. Due to that staffing shortage, I was offered to temporarily switch my work hours to the overnight shift. It came with a nice bump in pay, which could really help us out financially. My husband was very much against it because of the changes it would make to our day-to-day lives. I initially declined the offer, but they countered with an even higher pay bump, so I took it. It's been 5 months since I changed hours, and my husband hates it. My hours are now 10 p.m. to 8 a.m. Monday to Thursday and midnight 9 a.m. Sunday morning. I usually make it home just in time to see the kids off to school, run some errands or get things done at home in the morning, then sleep until the kids' bedtime and head to work. I like to think I've gotten pretty efficient at it since the change, but my husband disagrees. I won't lie, he has had to pick up a lot of kid-related things that we used to share. Pretty much any rides they need are done by him. Any weekday activities he takes care of. Now that the kids are done with school, we have them in a summer daycare program and he does all the drop-offs and pickups. He's been complaining to me ever since the kids' school year ended that this isn't working for him anymore. He keeps asking when I can switch my hours back. I told him that the original plan was 6 to 8 months, so it could be soon, but it's only been 5 months. If I'm being honest, I don't know if I want to switch back. I'm making and saving a lot more money. Once I adjusted to the sleep schedule, I feel like I actually have more energy and can get more stuff done when I get home from work. This past weekend, my husband practically begged me to ask my supervisor when I can switch my hours back. I finally told him that I'm not sure if I want to do that. He flipped out on me. He told me this isn't what he signed up for when we got married. He told me he feels lied to because not only did I accept the offer without his final approval, but now I'm going back on my word that it would be temporary. He said that if I'm going to keep my current night shift, then I need to do more things at home since I have the whole place to myself during the day. I asked him what more he thinks I should do, and he actually made a list. He put pretty much all the yard work on there, which is usually stuff he takes care of and that I don't know how to do. I told him I don't know how to do all of that stuff, and he told me if I can learn how to fold a fitted sheet, you can learn how to mow the lawn. I told him that doesn't seem like a fair division of labor, and he told me that he's taken on all the kids' stuff, so I need to do more of everything else. I told him that doing manual labor after I worked all night isn't going to work for me, and he told me to change my hours back then.
You are the a-hole. LOL, of course you have more energy now. It sounds like all you do is sleep and work. Your husband has had to take over every single other task. Learning how to mow the lawn isn't that hard, especially since Google is a thing. Suck it up like he has for the last 5 months, and do the yard work. Don't forget to weed whack, edge, and clean up all the clippings.
Literally LMAO, I was like, babe, you're getting more done when you get home, because your family leaves soon after. No shit, you're getting more done LOL plus. Sounds like she's taken the liberty of relieving herself of all daytime responsibilities, so that'd clear up some time too.
Do you hate your kids? Or just love the money? I mean, you could pay someone to do the manual labor with all that you're earning, but your kids know you are choosing a schedule that lets you avoid them. Why the fuck are you not sleeping first, and actually being awake when your family is at home in the evening?
I tried that for a few weeks, but I found I was getting extremely tired by the end of my shifts. I almost dozed off one day on the drive home, and I knew I couldn't keep doing it that way.
You are the a-hole. You've opted out of just about all family time and organized things so that you are free to prioritize work. When do you have any one-on-one time with either of your children or your spouse? And now that it's summer, which is usually prime family bonding time, you are still sleeping while sending the kids to programs? There is no reason whatsoever that you can't learn to mow the lawn and do yard work. That's a totally cop-out. If I'm being honest, I don't know if I want to switch back. I'm making and saving a lot more money. What's your financial objective? For what whom are you saving money? It doesn't sound like the family has an actual financial need that justifies the hardship. You know the schedule has made it hard on your marriage and family, and you don't know whether you want to get back to being an actual family? Maybe you need some counseling to figure out why you are even married.
On my days off, I make sure to plan fun things for me to do with the kids. Those days, my husband does not have to do any child-related tasks. I know I'm missing out on a lot of day-to-day stuff with the kids, so I try my best to make it up to them with special things on my days off. As for the money, we were scraping by. Not quite paycheck to paycheck, but it was close. Now, we can actually save money each month and build up our emergency fund and the kids' college fund.
Am I the a-hole for not telling my girlfriend I make more than her? 6 months ago I, 27 male, lost my previous job at a software company. I had enough savings to support myself while I found a new job and continued to split bills with my girlfriend of 4 years, Anna, 26 female. We've always split things 50-50 as we work in similar fields and earned roughly the same salary. 2 months ago I got a job at Anna's tech company, doing the same job she does on a different team. Anna has worked there for 5 years and recently got a promotion. She was initially really excited and so was I. Working for the same company has been a really positive experience for our relationship except in one area, money. I make just over $12,000 more than Anna. It's become clear to me over the past 2 months every time we talk about budgeting and finances that she's assuming we're making the same amount. When I finally told her, she was very upset I hadn't told her this before because she feels it's unfair that we continue to split bills 50-50 if I make so much more than her. She also is upset that we have the same job and that I make more. I told her that's not my fault and that we should keep splitting bills 50-50 because my salary is barely $1,000 more than hers a month and she called me an a-hole. She's been sulking ever since. Am I the a-hole?
You didn't think to tell her that they offered you substantially more than she was already earning? It would have given her leverage to ask for more. $1,000 a month is huge for the salary range you're both in. Edit, unless the company had a damn good reason to think a male new hire is worth $12,000 more than a 5-year female employee doing the same job, she potentially has a wage discrimination case. Edit 2, didn't expect to be the top comment. It's obvious you are the a-hole.
You are the a-hole. You were working the exact same job as Anna, knew you were paid more than her, and you never bothered to tell her that she can ask for more? I've had total strangers be more helpful to me than you were to your girlfriend of 4 years.
But you did read that he also paid halves when being unemployed. That, my friend, is a way higher difference.
She also offered to pay and he declined as he had savings. They talked about it, which is the important thing. And then to have the fact he didn't tell her he was being paid substantially more for the same job. I expect more solidarity from my coworkers, let alone my boyfriend.
You are the a-hole companies pull this shit because people don't talk about their pay. If you're doing the same job as your wife, why not support her so she can make her case to ask for more? It would be a win-win for both of you. I'd say the major issue isn't the splitting of the finances. It's that you're almost colluding with the company to pay someone less because she's... what? I'll let you fill in the blanks on what that could be.
Am I the a-hole for telling my best friend to leave her partner? I've been friends with this person for over 15 years. We're 27. She had been with her boyfriend for 6 years. They were supposed to marry, but he developed cancer and it got put off. I love this girl with all my heart. She's my sister and we've been tied to the hip since middle school. She came over after a hard day and we got drunk and stayed up talking. She was telling me how hard it was and how this cancer diagnosis is the hardest thing she's been through. She loves him, but she said he's bedridden and weak and tired. She told me that they fought multiple times today about stupid stuff and that she's exhausted and missing how things used to be. She was just venting to me, and I listened to all of it. I said something that has been on my chest. I said something like, if you wanted to leave him, I wouldn't blame you. At the end of the day, we all need to do what makes us happy, and, thankfully, he's just a boyfriend, so you can leave and I won't blame you. She seemed really taken aback by what I said, but she said she would never leave. She said a lot of people have told her that they wouldn't blame her, and that it never even occurred to her to leave. I said I was just doing what I thought would make her happy, because I love her. I explained I was worried about her because she was so stressed out and she's so young, too, to be dealing with all of this. But she ended up just getting angry. She said that I know she loves her boyfriend more than anything, that I know he has helped her through horrible depression before and basically saved her life. Even bringing that she could just leave was messed up on my part. She left very upset and didn't speak to me as she was leaving, even though I apologized. I was genuinely just worried about her, and she was telling me how stressed out she was. Am I the a-hole here? How bad was it what I did? I'm at least relieved I'm not the only one. She said she's heard that from a lot of people. But I don't know why she got extra upset when I said it.
Ugh. You messed big time on this one. I understand your intentions weren't bad, but, okay, see this. Imagine that she's the one who was sick. You two are joined at the hip, right? You'd be one of the people spending loads of time with her, helping her, taking care of her. Yes, it would be very difficult for you, it would be physically and mentally exhausting. Would you ever, in a million years, even consider just going on with your life and letting the friendship drift away? If someone else close to you would come and tell you that you could do just that, move on, not be involved anymore, what would you think first? what would your instinctive reaction be? She loves her boyfriend. In her eyes, this is her partner for life. In her world, her leaving him to prioritize herself doesn't even exist as a concept. She probably finds the suggestion insulting, not to mention unfeeling, selfish, and cruel. And while other people may have suggested it as well, said other people are probably not that close to her. Coming from you, it hits that much harder. She was just venting that night you two got drunk. She needed to speak the words so they don't weigh her down. It's a clear case of needing empathy, not solutions. Because what solution is there to the situation she's in, really? There are only two possibilities. Her boyfriend either recovers and they happily move on with their life, or he succumbs and she loses him. These are the only two ways this can end for her. And you can't help with either of them. You can't provide a different solution because none exists. She needed to vent, and needed compassion, and only that. Just imagine if things were reversed. Imagine if she's the one who was sick, and her boyfriend just effed off because it was too much for him. What would you think of him? It's a you are the a-hole. Soft, because you obviously just wanted to offer some comfort, but still.
Or how about OP imagine it was her partner that was potentially dying, and her friend suggested she leave? There is no soft about it. She basically told her best friend that her partner doesn't matter because they don't have a bit of paper committing themselves to each other, as if 6 years and a planned marriage means nothing.
You are the a-hole. The appropriate things to say in this case. How can I help you?
How heartless and selfish can you be? How can you prioritize your friend's temporary discomfort over her partner's battle for his life? She deserves friends who support her, who stand by her in her loyalty and compassion, not someone who tells her to run away from her problems. If you can't be that friend, maybe she should reconsider who she keeps in her life.
I actually love her partner, he is like a brother to me. But at the end of the day, my best friend and sister are always going to come first. If he doesn't make her happy anymore, I would be the first one to help her leave, even at his detriment, because that's my best friend and my loyalties are always going to be with her. I'm always going to prioritize her and want the best for her. I think that is how most people feel about their family, their best friend, if they really love them. I did read the comments, and I do regret what I said though, because it upset her. I appreciate the comments, and I am planning on talking to her and apologizing for what I said.
What do you think of these stories? Leave a comment and subscribe to the channel to see more interesting videos.